Okay, so now we're going to winnow our broken beams. Now, I have moved into the garage because I don't think I can do this cleanly in my workshop downstairs. And I want to avoid my wife's wrath of trying to do that and then having to sweep nibs from everywhere. So we're going to do it in the garage. Good idea to always find a place. This is a rather dusty operation, so again, you want to be in a place where, controlled but sweepable. And it's going to be loud, so I'm going to do most of the explanation before and after. But this is a winnower. This is a Sylph winnower. It's available from Chocolate Alchemy. It costs about $325, $350. We'll provide information on all of this equipment, where to get it and what the price is. But this is a game changer, all right? If you've ever had or tried to separate shell from nib by hand, it takes forever. But this, combined with the juicer, the breaker, and this, it really shortens the operation. So the principle of winnowing is to separate the shell, which is light, from the nib, which is heavier. And we do that by aspiration. So we need a source of vacuum. So I have a vacuum cleaner here. This is an old vacuum cleaner that my wife no longer uses. And, well, I should say I no longer use. But it's a very, it was just laying around the house. And I was very fortunate because it provides just the right vacuum. However, I needed a connection, a venturi, to channel down the vacuum for the winnower. And so I just took a bottle, a plastic bottle. This is a Pellegrino bottle, and I just cut it in half, attached it to the vacuum cleaner, and that's my source of vacuum. All right. Now this winnower has two valves, or two points where you can control the level of vacuum. Now again, I was very lucky because this vacuum cleaner provides just the right amount of vacuum. But if you buy a large shop vac, you'll have to adjust the vacuum to avoid sucking out all your nibs or not getting enough shell. And there are two adjusters, all right? So this is a coarse adjust, and all it does is it allows a little bit of air to enter, and it reduces the vacuum. And so that's kind of your coarse adjustment. And then this is kind of your fine adjustment. So between the two, you should be able to regulate it so you remove most of the shell. Now, typically we want 1.7% shell or less in the nib. That's actually the standard for chocolate in the United States. What will happen is you'll see some big pieces of shell, and it looks like, oh man, I've got shell there. But actually, by weight, it's relatively small quantity, all right? So I do pick them out just because it's a small batch and I can. But normally a little bit of shell is fine. That's normal. You can't get a perfect separation. Now, normally, if you look at like huge beam processors like Barry Callebaut, the huge beam processors, they're able to get a separation or a yield of between 80 and 82%. And they cut that 1.7% shell very carefully. On equipment like this for home chocolate making, a good yield is about 75%. And even if you talk to the bean to bar people who are in business making chocolate bean to bar, they're getting about 75% yield. So it's very simple the way, if I show it to you, you can kind of see up close, it's a bucket with a bunch of tubes in there, and fortunately, I've never had to open it up except to remove the shell, and you really can't see the design of it, but take my word for it, it gives a very good separation, all right? Especially for our purposes, all right? So again, this is going to be pretty noisy, all right? And so I'm going to not talk while I'm doing it, but pay attention, because in order for it to work efficiently, you've got to add the nibs, or the mixture of nib and shell, you've got to add it in relatively slowly, all right? So that, and create kind of like a fine flow of nibs into there, and that will allow the vacuum to kind of pull out the shell. So I'm going to turn this on, and I'm going to do it, and then when I'm done, we'll talk a little bit more. So, I'm not going to make you watch I'm not going to make you watch this entire process. It doesn't take long, but you know it's more of the same. So I won't make you watch it. So I'm going to finish, and then we'll take our nibs down and start chocolate making.